Welcome back to Inside the Ropes, where golf, whiskey, and stories meet, one pour at a time. This is for the week of October 27th, the numbers beneath the surface. I'm your host, Brian Bailey, and this week we'll be diving into 4 stories that explore what lies beneath the surface. From the numbers that shape the Tour's pros' precision, to the simple art of choosing your first cigar. Here's what's on tap. Article 1, the numbers beneath the surface. A closer look at how PGA pros and whiskey drinkers share their same mindset for mastery. 2. Ask the Cask, Volume 1. Your questions, your pours, your stories behind both. 3. Cigar 101, Choosing Your First Cigar. The Beginner's Guide to Enjoying the Leaf with Intention. 4. The Golf Cast Life magazine, LPGA Coach John Lewellen brings us excellence in distance. So, let's tee this round up. Whiskey in the glass, golf in the mind. Let's get it started. On the PGA Tour, launch monitors like Trackman are now as common as yardage books used to be. Monday and Tuesday during practice rounds have become quite the laboratory. Player and caddies chasing precision all the way down to the decimal point. But according to Trackman, the best players in the world don't obsess over every number on the screen, just the ones that matter when it's time to play for real. For example, Xander Schauffele and his caddy focus on 2 key stats, carry distance and spin rates. Those numbers define trust in the wind, distance control, and repeatability. The goal is not perfection, it's making better decisions. If he calls a 180-yard ball and it flies only 175, he doesn't panic. He calibrates. That's what good caddies and distillers share. The ability to refine their recipe, not reinvent it. Because in whiskey terms, spin rate is viscosity, carry is the finish, and the balance between the two, that's the shot's mouthfeel. Even when Xander makes a rare equipment tweak, it's about one thing, consistency. Does it perform the same on the course as it does on the range? Just like distillers testing proof from barrel to bottle, it's all about trust between process and product. So here's the final pour. Golf's not about chasing numbers. It's about understanding your recipe. Get your carry right, spin is pure, and let the rest settle in the glass. And let's not forget about Golf Cast Life magazine, the quarterly publication for those who savor more than a scorecard. Inside every issue, you'll explore the stories that live between the glass and the green. Course features, distillery deep dives, cigar rituals, travel tales, and the philosophy of slowing down and savoring excellence. Members at golfcast.com get full digital access, bonus narrative editions, and exclusive invites to our upcoming whiskey golf trails. Remember, Golf Cast Life magazine, spark, sip, swing, and savor. And now for something new. The nation asked, we pour the answers. Every week, GolfCast members send in questions about what we sip, swing, smoke, and share. This week's pour brings 3 great ones straight from the fairway to the fireside. Welcome to our new series, Ask the Cask, Volume 1. Whiskey question. What's one affordable bourbon that impresses even the whiskey snobs? Our database Pour Decisions shine the light, and I have to agree, 4 Roses small batch. It's complex, balanced, and under $40. It's a masterclass in blend design. 6 of the brand's 10 yeast and mash bill combinations harmonize into notes of fruit, caramel, baking spice, and a little bit of oak. Blind tasting by the Golf Cask Whiskey Syndicate has it an average of 3.3 in the Pour Decision scale, a solid par, which in our world means dependable and enjoyable. I do have a few honorable mentions. Evan Williams Bottle and Bonded, and Wild Turkey 101. 2 affordable all-stars that punch way above their price point. Now onto our golf requests. What's one putting drill that actually works under pressure? Try the wagon wheel drill. 8 balls around the hole, each at about 8 feet out. Make all of them. Not really. 50% for scratch players, 40% for mid-70s, 30% for 80 shooters, and less than 20% for higher handicappers, players that shoot 90 and above. You can also add the dog ball. Miss it, start over. This is pure focus training. Go read our post on the dog ball from Inside the Ropes. At this distance, we're practicing the make or break zone of real scoring. Every miss is data. Was it a speed, read, or start line issue? The pros track the feedback. You should too. I wish you good putting. Community request. What's next for Golf Cask? We've rolled out the 19th hole, Pour Decisions, Golf Cask Life magazine, and our interactive whiskey trails map. But the next big pour comes in the spring 2026. A new immersive experience that connects spark, sip, swing, and savor in ways that have never been done before. So I can't really tell you, but it's exciting. Here's to the next pour, the next fairway, and the next great story we'll share together. And make sure you join Golf Cask, Greens and Grain, our member community where golf, whiskey, and cigars meet under one roof. Members gain exclusive access to blind tasting, whiskey trails, special magazine issues, and so much more. Join the nation at golfcast.com, where every pour tells a story. Let's talk cigars. Cigars 101, actually. Choosing your first. You stepped into the humidor, breathed in the cedar and the leaf, and now comes the moment. Choosing your first cigar. Start mild. Stay curious. Connecticut wrappers are smooth, creamy, and forgiving. They'll teach you how to taste, not just smoke. Expect notes of cream, toast, cedar, and soft sweetness. Like easing into whiskey with an Irish pour before a smoky Isla. A Robusto, about 5x50 is ideal. Short enough for under an hour, wide enough to burn cool. And don't guess. Ask your tobaccoist which pairs well with your palate. Coffee, chocolate, spice, vanilla? You're not buying a smoke, you're buying a moment. Your first cigar should feel approachable, flavorful, and slow enough to remind you that time well spent is never wasted. Next week, we'll open up the cigar kit and talk about the tools that turn smoke into ceremony. So after enjoying that Connecticut, let's learn a little bit more from John Lewellen, LPGA Golf Coach. Drive for show, putt for dough might be outdated because distance, real, efficient, repeatable distance now rules professional golf. This is an article from Golf Cask Life magazine. The core message, distance isn't luck, it's layers. Mechanics, equipment, fitness, and sports-specific training. Let's dive in. Excellence in Distance by John Lewellen. Drive for show, putt for dough. It's passé. Distance is king on every professional tour. There's a clear, statistical supported link between total driving and position on the money list. While there's always exceptions, those who hit the ball far and straight enough have an advantage in the game of golf. This was nowhere more on display than in the 2025 Masters, where Rory McIlroy dominated the course and his competition with a remarkable combination of distance and accuracy. All of the statistical analysis that has surfaced over the past 10 years demonstrate the importance of distance. On average, you are going to get a 9-iron closer to the hole than a 7-iron. So if you hit a driver 20 yards longer, you're more likely going to have more legitimate birdie opportunities. Club, shaft, and ball manufacturers are all chasing ball speed right now, while teachers seek ways to enhance their students' ground force reactions. New swing speed devices and/or programs seemingly surface daily on social media. Let's be honest, the golf world is obsessed with distance, and rightfully so. There are 4 core principles to consider when seeking to build distance in your golf game. The first is swing mechanics. Here, the important principle to keep in mind is that the design of the golf club determines the mechanics of the swing. The golf club is made in such a way that it is meant to be swung on an angled plane, and therefore governed by the universal laws of force and motion. When the club swings in accordance to these laws, it moves most efficiently. To access maximum speed, we need to work towards swinging the club on plane, because the on-plane condition is where the club will naturally move its fastest and contact the ball with the most solid forces, as well as produce the straightest shot. The second principle is dialing in your equipment, matching a shaft with your loading pattern to get the most consistency out of the speed you are creating. I'd encourage you to pick a head that you like, but more importantly, find the shaft that fits your loading pattern. Remember, the shaft is the engine of the golf club. There are 2 essential aspects to maximizing speed, but serious distance gains come from these next 2 principles: fitness training and sports-specific training. From a developmental perspective, fitness training for golf continues to lag behind other sports training programs. But we believe a new trend is developing thanks to players like Tiger, and more recently Rory McIlroy and Bryson DeChambeau, who have not been afraid to go against the traditional conventions of physical training in golf. They look to other sports and how athletes in those sports work to develop high levels of force and speed. What they discovered, simply put, is that they need to lift heavy weights. Resistance training is essential for maximizing force and speed production. The first phase of physical training for any endeavor is to establish a fundamental layer of strength and fitness. In the exercise science world, this is called developing muscular strength, power, and endurance through hypertrophy training. This is typically accomplished through high volume, 10 to 12 reps, with low to medium weights. This style of training increases muscle size and strength. Through the general preparation phase, a foundation is established to allow neural adaptation to occur at the neuromuscular level. In other words, there has been an overall increase in muscular mass. But that does not necessarily mean the nervous system has taught the muscles to be used optimally. Muscle optimization is developed through heavy lifting. The second phase of muscular training tends to be low volume, 2 to 5 reps, and high weights. During this phase, you are seeking to push the limits relative to how much weight you can move. The ultimate goal of this strength development is so that you can create more power and speed. This third phase of fitness training for golf is called rate of force development. Here, one is seeking to take the strength they have developed and turn it into power and speed. This phase consists of moving lighter weights at higher speeds. The goal is learning to produce force in an extremely small window of about a second, the time it takes to swing a golf club. When doing this on your own, you have to be extremely accountable for the intention behind every repetition in order to reap the rewards of this section of training. This brings us to the final principle of developing distance, sport-specific training. There are numerous swing speed devices and programs on the market today. The majority of these programs employ underload and overload training to help increase speed. This type of training was developed and first utilized in the Olympic rotational sports in the 1980s, and more recently popularized in velocity training for baseball by Driveline Sports. There are two important aspects one gleans from looking at the way the Olympic sports and Driveline use underload and overload training. First, for both, it is a supplemental in their fitness training program. In other words, once strength has been established, its primary function as to aid with the rate of force development. Real speed gains come from not just swinging weighted sticks, but through a well-planned fitness program where strength is developed and turned into speed and power. Second, both utilize the underload and overload training in the actual sports motion activity. For instance, a shot putter will train by throwing a heavier than normal ball and then train with a lighter than normal ball. Pitchers in baseball do the same. Also, hitters will use the method as well, hitting baseballs with a heavier than normal bat and a lighter than normal bat. Our take from observing this sports usage of overload and underload training is that a golfer would be best served by actually hitting a ball with a slightly heavier, 15% more than normal club, and then a 15% lighter than normal club. Ultimately, swinging weighted sticks is not sports specific enough for golf. If you want to hit the ball further, seek to develop an on-plane swing, as well as find a good fitter that can optimize your clubs in accordance with your loading pattern. In addition, commit yourself to a well-planned fitness program, one that prioritizes strength development along the continuum discussed above. Real distance isn't about swinging harder, it's about syncing mechanics, mindset, and muscle. That's it for this round of Inside the Ropes. Remember, the best stories live between the stats, the swing, and the sip. Until next time, my friends, spark, sip, savor at golfcast.com. This is Brian Bailey. Cheers.